Welcome to the Robbins Regional Wrap, your one-stop shop for all your Houston County news. I'm Megan Western. Each week, we're taking you through what's happening in Houston County, Warner Robins, Robins Air Force Base, in your very own neighborhood. And in Houston County, Sheriff Matt Moulton is reflecting on his first year in office. In 2025, Houston County saw a sharp spike in violent crime with 17 homicides. That's more than double the usual 7 and the third highest total in 30 years. Moulton calls it an unprecedented year. Elizabeth Hunter sat down with him to discuss the trends and the challenges behind the surge and his top priorities headed into the new year.
Houston County's population is over 160,000 people according to the U.S. Census. And with more people comes the opportunity for more crime.
All of the massive growth that we've had over the last decade or two, it seems that crime's creeping up.
Cameron Andrews has lived in Houston County for 56 years. He says he feels it's a safe place to live, but the number of homicides is troubling.
I am concerned about the uptick.
14 of the 17 homicides were acts of family violence. 2 were acts of random violence. The last one happened when an officer shot a suspect who pulled a gun. Andrews says the county's proactive approach to reducing family violence homicides is encouraging.
I do think that things are moving in the right direction.
Sheriff Matt Moulton says family violence deaths dropped later last year after they launched their anonymous tip line with Crime Stoppers. He says they are still working to reduce family violence with a new mobile app.
It allows people to report acts of family violence anonymously.
Moulton says the app should be ready to download in January or early February. He says another focus is reducing jail overcrowding.
The jail capacity is manageable now. We run an average daily population around 570 inmates.
The jail can hold up to 665 inmates. Moulton says he is proud that the jail has such high numbers because it shows how active policing is in the county. In Houston County, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
Sheriff Moulton did say that acts of random violence were way below average. Again, only 2 of those were deadly in 2025, but the county is still working to bring that number down. One major change, the 911 center. Since 2020, leaders have added 4 dispatchers and upgraded the vehicle tracking system. Now they can see the real-time location of their officers, firefighters, and EMTs. That helps dispatchers send the closest unit, saving critical time when it really matters the most. Emory is also investing $150 million to improve response times, facilities, and services. Emory's director of transportation says the average response dropped nearly 6 minutes this year. The director also says they boosted staffing by 38% and added 2 new ambulances. But some of the biggest changes in Houston County came from the district attorney's office. DA Eric Edwards says his team made major headway into the county's case backlog. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at that. Eric Edwards' year-end report says that his office closed more than 4,600 cases in 2025. He says that's the most since his office started keeping those records. Those cases include more than 200 homicides, violent felonies, felony sex charges, and family violence cases. They closed 20% more cases than in 2024, clearing more than 100,000 cases from the court backlog. And nearly a year after taking office, Peach County Sheriff Buck Shannon says that his first 12 months have been about progress and priorities, cutting crime, improving equipment, and managing jail overcrowding. Carmen Brown sat down with the sheriff to see where things stand now.
Peach County Sheriff Robert Buck Shannon says it's been a fast first year, but productive. He says crime has cooled off across the county.
It's calmed down a little bit. It hasn't completely stopped, and it probably won't completely stop, but if we can get a hand on it and keep it under control, that's my goal, to just keep it under control.
Still, Shannon says being visible and quick response times make a difference.
This year we're going to have a summer program for the kids, like a camp, a couple weeks, and we're going to continue to work on go to events and be out in the public.
He says he's also focused on technology upgrades, adding printers to patrol cars and completing drone training this month. Shannon Moy, owner of Peach County Motors, says the sheriff is doing a great job.
He's a people person. I mean, there's not a bad person that's going to say anything bad about him. And if they do, it's probably because they got in some trouble and he couldn't get them out of it. But all in all, I mean, he's a people person.
Inside the jail, Shannon says overcrowding has eased after he worked with judges and prosecutors to bond out nonviolent offenders. But he says an older wing with 85 ready beds remains closed until the county approves more staff.
These are human beings. Even though you give them a mattress, they put it on the floor. Nobody needs to sleep on the floor. So that's my big concern.
Shannon says new mental health programs are coming for both inmates and staff. Overall, he says he enjoys staying connected with the people he serves.
That's what we're going to do, work on making it safe, keeping it safe.
Which is what he's looking forward to continuing into year 2. In Peach County, Carmen Brown, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, as for staffing, the sheriff says that his patrol division is nearly full. They're just short one deputy. And this week over in Warner Robins, police took the final walkthrough of their new training center, and it's been a long time coming. Police officials have dreamed of this for decades. City leaders approved the center last year. Work started in March, and when the city tore down the old facility to make way for a new one, it was supposed to open in a month, but now leaders say they're nearing the finish line. Jasmine Lee shows us what's new and when the center will be fully up and running.
Since September, this project has reached the finish line, and after a final walkthrough, police are now preparing to move personnel inside.
There'll be padding that will be put along the wall here in the future.
For more than 20 years, Warner Robins officers have dreamed of a training facility like this. For months, officers have trained at multiple cramped, outdated locations. Now, with the final walkthrough complete, staff are set to move in by the end of February.
We're very excited about where we are and where we have come from the facility itself.
Warner Robins Police Chief Wayne Fisher says the facility is more than classrooms and tactical rooms. Just a few years ago, the department was more than 40 officers short. Today, that number is just over a dozen. Now, Chief Fisher says this facility gives new recruits a place to learn, officers a place to stay sharp, and the department room to grow.
It will allow for us to have greater capabilities and flexibilities in our training and manner in which we present the training through an internal and external manner.
Officers will walk these halls and use classrooms designed for every type of lesson. The center will also host community programs and support other law enforcement agencies across Central Georgia.
This is a 20 by 40 area, again, from which we can do, again, physical skills.
Final touches are still going in, but soon the facility will be ready to start its next chapter. Reporting in Warner Robins, Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
Chief Fisher says that the city plans to hold a ribbon cutting this month in January, and staff will move in by the end of February. Alrighty, it is out with the old and in with the new year. One popular way to ring in New Year's in Central Georgia is Perry's Buzzard Drop. Elizabeth Hunter stopped by downtown Perry to see how they got prepared.
5, 4, 3, 2 days away from Perry's annual Buzzard Drop.
We all can experience that with the rest of the town.
For 13 years, the Buzzard Drop has marked the start of a new year. John Gray is the general manager at Orleans on Carroll Street. He says having a front row view to the festivities brings tons of business their way.
The Buzzard Drop brings out an enormous amount of people to downtown, and it's always a fun experience, and we love being the center down here.
Gray says they spend all week stocking up on food.
We will probably see over 600 people come through the door that day, all day long.
Buzzard Drop is nationally recognized and one of Perry's biggest events.
Depending on the year, how cold, how hot, depending on the weather, of course, we estimate in probably about 10,000 people.
Tabitha Clark, Perry's communications director, says they have to prepare all year because the Buzzard Drop draws so many people. She says they keep doing the event downtown to benefit local businesses.
Not only are we wanting to put on a fantastic party or a fantastic event, but we also know that it has a big economic impact.
The event will have live music, food and bar trucks, retail vendors, free face painting, balloon art, and fireworks. Clark says her favorite part is seeing everyone together.
They can just have fun and, be that neighbor to each other.
In Perry, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
Well, I'm scared of buzzards. Buzzards are bad luck.
So we stopped by the night of the Buzzard Drop, and that was young Heaven Robinson, who you just heard from. She was a little bit apprehensive about Perry's New Year's Eve celebration, but not to fear, the buzzards brought in good luck for a happy 2026. Olivia Dunn was there for the festivities and shares more on this wacky and fun tradition that's back for its 13th year.
It's a tradition like no other. Downtown Perry is rocking and ready to ring in 2026 with their annual buzzard drop, which honors Perry history in a pretty unique way.
We'll just make the best out of buzzards instead of the ball.
Shakira Robinson brought her family from Dodge County for what she calls a perfectly weird New Year's celebration. Tonight, she and her daughters will watch Bob the Buzzard drop from the sky to welcome 2026 instead of a ball.
And I was thinking, when they said a buzzard drop, I was like, a buzzard drop? They're going to drop a buzzard?
And she's not alone.
So we get a lot of those questions.
Autumn Cameron is the city's special events administrator and the bird brain behind it all. She says Perry sits right along a buzzard migration path, and years ago the birds started damaging the city's water tower, so officials hung decoy buzzards, and a tradition took flight.
And so that worked, kind of deterring the buzzards from landing on the water tower, and that's kind of where the buzzard drop came from.
This is the 13th year of the buzzard drop, and Cameron says it's only grown since it first spread its wings. She expects more than 6,000 people at tonight's celebration, including food, vendors, and fireworks. But most importantly, Cameron says the event showcases the city's history and their Perry pride.
It's definitely my favorite event because it kind of culminates all of our events at the end of the year and just kind of really shows like the pride that we have in Perry.
Food trucks and vendors are open for business right now until Bob the Buzzard drops at midnight. Reporting in Perry, Olivia Dunn, 13 WMAZ News.
Now that night, to make sure that everyone got home safe, the city also offered free courtesy shuttle rides for anyone who needed a ride home within the city of Perry limits. And you know the saying, new year, new me. And as 2026 gets off without a hitch, many people are setting goals like saving money, eating healthier, or working out more.
Continuing to grow spiritually in Jesus and try to live that, try to show him in my life, less of me.
I'll be studying abroad in Spain coming up in January 20th actually. So my New Year's resolution is to travel more.
We spoke to more people who are pledging to work out more as well. Experts say the hardest part of every New Year's resolution is actually sticking with it. Elizabeth Hunter spoke with a therapist about how to turn those goals into habits and set yourself up for success in the year ahead.
A new year means new possibilities.
It's kind of the energy of let's try something new, let's be our best self this year.
Rachel Cunningham owns Homegrown Yoga in Warner Robins and Macon. She says the most membership signups happen at the start of the year.
Our classes double in sizes in January and February.
Cunningham says they created a 6-week beginner program offered only in January to encourage people to sign up and keep coming all year.
I think people tend to stick with things when they're fun and when they're doable. We show people how they can be successful, how it's a doable practice for them.
Cunningham has seen the benefits of sticking to a goal once you set it. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in May and says continuing to exercise helped her through.
I bounced back and was able to get through things because I was taking care of myself when I wasn't in treatment.
Therapist Bruce Kahn says the best way to reach a goal is to start small and build it from there.
We can only change in small ways over time. Over time, it adds up to big changes.
A Forbes health survey found only 9% of people will stick with their New Year's resolutions. 80% will quit by mid-February. Kahn says the acronym SMART can help you create a realistic and achievable goal.
Specific, measurable, attainable, what fits for you, relevant, it's meaningful to you, and some time-bound or some time-sensitive nature to it.
In Macon, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, before we welcomed in a new year, Santa got a huge assist from Houston County employees. They raised more than $50,000 for United Way of Central Georgia. Jasmine Lee shows you how that money actually is going to be a gift that keeps on giving.
So we surpassed our goal.
This holiday season marks a major milestone for Houston County, one measured not in decorations, but in community impact. County employees came together with a shared goal to make a difference close to home.
The generosity of the Houston County employees is on is quite evident because we not only met but surpassed our goal.
The money raised through the United Way campaign helps fund a network of local nonprofits, from homeless services to programs for children, seniors, and working families. In one of those spots, the Houston County Volunteer Medical Clinic.
United Way assists us with Pink Promise United.
Patricia Butler is the executive director. She says the clinic serves working adults who fall through the cracks. Too much income for assistance, but not enough for insurance. And United Way support helps make preventive care possible.
A week before Christmas, we had one of our patients diagnosed with breast cancer. What a way to start the holiday.
Butler says that timing makes early detection even more critical, turning a potentially deadly diagnosis into a chance for treatment and survival.
Pink Promise United has kept all of our patients alive so far.
Still, Butler says medical care is often overlooked when it comes to community funding, and she's fighting to keep the clinic's doors open. Without consistent support, she says patients are left with fewer options for care.
I stay up at night wondering where our patients will go if these doors close.
As Houston County employees celebrate surpassing their fundraising goal, Butler hopes the impact of those dollars continue to be part of the conversation. Reporting in Houston County, Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, if you'd like to support the United Way yourself, there is a separate car raffle fundraiser where anyone in the community can participate. For $45, you can enter for a chance to win a free car. Proceeds benefit United Way of Central Georgia. We have posted the QR code and the details on our website at 13WMAZ.com. We also need to tell you about 3 new laws that'll impact you right now in the new year. First, disaster preparedness. All taxpayers can open a catastrophe savings account. That means that you can put money aside specifically for disaster-related losses. Also, the State Ethics Commission will stop accepting complaints against candidates or campaigns within 60 days of an election. And finally, parking rules. Private property owners can now boot trespassing cars, but only if clear warning signs are posted. Of course, not all lawmakers are on board with this new booting rule. Some state senators say that booting is already predatory and should be restricted. And this new year also means new leaders are taking office. This week, Shekinah Reeves will officially be sworn in as Fort Valley's new mayor. The ceremony is set for Saturday, January the 3rd, marking a new chapter in the city's leadership. Reeves defeated incumbent Mayor Jeffrey Lundy in the December runoff election, winning 60% of the vote. She's a Fort Valley State University graduate and an economist who has worked with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Reeves has also served as Fort Valley's Planning and Zoning Board and will make history as the first woman to hold office. Meanwhile, in Warner Robins, City Hall leadership will look pretty familiar. Mayor LaRhonda Patrick won her re-election along with Councilmen Derek Mack, Keith Lauritsen, and Clifford Holmes. That team says they plan to continue focusing on upgrading city technology and finishing projects like Commercial Circle. And in Perry, Mayor Randall Walker also won re-election and will continue serving in office. And of course, if you have your Christmas tree still up, it might be time to go ahead and get rid of it in the new year. Until January 9th, Keep Warner Robins Beautiful is hosting their annual Bring One for the Chipper tree recycling event. It has to be a live tree that's untied and free of any decorations. All the recycled trees will be turned into mulch or used in fish habitats. You can head over to the Water Tower on Maple Street from 9 in the morning until 1 to get rid of those trees. And if you live in Peach County or parts of Houston, the polls are still open for you to go vote in a special election. This is for a state Senate seat that's now open because Senator John F. Kennedy resigned. He's now focusing on his run for lieutenant governor. The candidates are now on the side of your screen right here. There are 5 Republicans: Howard Allison, Lauren Daniel, Stephen McNeil, Nathan Warnock, Eric Wilson as well, and on the Democratic side, Lamario Brown. Early voting ends on January the 16th. Election day is January the 20th. If you need to check in to see if you qualify to vote, head over to the Georgia Secretary of State's My Voter page. Alrighty, that's a wrap on what's happening throughout the Robbins region. If you have a Houston County story you want to share with us, go ahead and email us at news@13WMAZ.com. Make sure you keep coming back each week to get all the Houston County news and the stories that matter to you. Thanks for joining us.